Hi everybody, I'm Dave.
And I'm Brenda.
Did you know that we just passed the 40th anniversary of a tragic event that tied the Ozzy Osbourne band to the village area and resulted in the death of guitar icon Randy Rhoads? We'll tell you more about it in just a minute. Let's start our video by getting you oriented to the place that this tragedy occurred. Now, for orientation, the red area, that's the main part of the villages where people are living today. The area in blue is the section that'll be built out in the years or decades to come. Now, let's zoom over right through this area here. This is where St. Catherine is at. The Sawgrass Grove Entertainment Area, Ezel Recreation Center. So all of that area there is where people are living now. Have just recently moved in too. Now where we want to look at is through the woods. So these woods that are right here behind St. Catherine. As soon as you get through the woods, again, this is St. Catherine. Here is the Flying Baron Estates. This here is a private runway for the homes that are right here. This is where the tragedy occurred we're going to speak of. Specifically, I want to look at one home in here. Right here, it's listed Entertainment Coaches America. This is the home site for where these tour buses are from. Now, this home right here, right along the runway, it's where the tragedy occurs. And I'll explain the details in a minute, but I want you to be oriented from an aerial view because we're not going to be able to go directly to the home. I am going to show you this home from the ground, but we're not going to go on the property. So see how large this front yard area is? That's where a good portion of this occurs. I want you to kind of get a look of what this is like. There will be a tour bus we'll talk about that'll be was parked in this front yard. All right. So let's go ahead and visit the Flying Baron Estates. All right, we're going to take a little ride here. We're going to what is called the Flying Baron Estates. It's a little private airport that is owned by a man with the last name Calhoun. He had a tour bus company that a lot of major bands and things would use the tour buses for it. And that's kind of how this area is tied here. Ozzy Osbourne's band, what date was it? It was March 19th of 1982. They had just finished having a concert in...
Was it Tennessee?
Yeah, it was in Tennessee, not Nashville. I haven't made a note of it. Where was that thing at? But anyway, it was in Tennessee. And their next show was supposed to be in Orlando. Well, so they were on their way to Orlando. Well, on the way, they were having trouble with the air condition on the bus. So they stopped here in Leesburg, Virginia, to have the bus air condition worked on. Well, while they were there, that's when this tragic event happens. Well, we're not going to be able to go directly to this house where it was, or the little airport. We're going to be able to get close, and I can actually film where the tragedy occurred. But what actually happens is the bus came here. Ozzy and his band was on board. The bus driver was a pilot at one time, and they all came down here so they get the bus repaired. They had a day off before they needed to be in Orlando. Well, they pulled the bus up into a field in front of the house of the Calhoun, the owner, Mr. Calhoun, and the bus driver, who reportedly had been doing some cocaine the night before. It was found in his blood system. He decided that he was going to use one of the planes there and do some, I guess, joyriding. So he took a flight from a little private airstrip that's here at this estate, and took 2 people up. One of them was the keyboardist for the band. That was Don Airy, and the tour manager, which was Jake Duncan. They flew around the area, uneventful, like 5 to 10 minutes, I understand. Came back down, landed. This is like 10 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't dark out. This was the bus had gotten here overnight and parked. Well, then I'm going to show right here real quick as we turn around. This is all going to be private property beyond this point with no trespassing. I'm on a public road here, so I'm going to stop here on the public road. But finish telling you a little bit of the story, and then I'll show you that house. All right, so the first flight had gone uneventful. Comes back down, and then the pilot wanted to take Randy Rhoads and the other lady, Rachel Youngblood.
Seamstress.
Yep, seamstress, kind of hair and makeup, did all the things for Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. They kind of helped with everything around for them on the tour. Well, so the seamstress was very interested in going at Rachel Youngblood. Randy Rhoads was deathly afraid of flying. And from all reports, he just hated to fly, did not like it. So it was kind of unusual that he would have wanted to go up. But he was also a photographer, and the thought is he wanted to just get some photography from here. Reports are that Rachel Youngblood had a serious heart condition, and so she was insisting that they not be playing around. She wanted to go for the flight, and the pilot agreed. It was just going to be a leisurely flight around, and that's probably why that Randy Rhoads agreed to the flight. Well, they go up, and reportedly, the pilot then started to tried to be a little have a little fun, I guess, inappropriate fun, but decided to buzz Ozzy's bus. So fly by it low. Did that a couple of times, and on the 3rd or 4th pass, the edge of the wing clipped the side of Ozzy Osbourne's tour bus. Sharon and Ozzy were inside. They had not gotten up from the night before. They didn't even know they were here in Leesburg. When they got up, they thought they were in Orlando. They were awakened by the hit of the bus and then the subsequent explosion. As the plane clipped the bus, it cartwheeled into the Calhoun house, burst into flames, and the house was severely destroyed. And of course, all 3 on board, Rachel Youngblood, Randy Rhoads, and the pilot, who was Andrew Aycock, were all 3 killed instantly in that explosion. So I'm going to get out here in a minute, and I'll put a camera where I can zoom in and show you the house where this occurred. I'm also going to put several links in the description of this video. I was unaware this had happened right here in our backyard, and I found it out actually from a post from a friend of mine, Lynn Doak. He's Little Ozzy. If you saw on America's Got Talent several years ago. Anyway, I know him from back home, and so I was touching base. I saw he had tagged Leesburg, Virginia, in this. So I researched some of this story, and it really was intriguing. Yeah. So I'm going to put some things. Lynn was here 2 years ago on the anniversary of the crash. Well, he had the opportunity and to play inside this house. This house has been repaired. It looks just like it did prior to the crash, but on
the outside.
On the outside, yes. Yeah. I don't know what the inside looked like at the time, but but Lynn played some Ozzy Osbourne music there in the home of Mr. Calhoun. I believe Mr. Calhoun was actually there to watch that, witness it. So
that's just so cool.
It was really neat.
Very touching.
So I'm going to put some of those in the description. We'll see some other videos that goes a little in depth. But I kind of wanted to show you from a villager's perspective about where this is, and that, you know, this is right here in our backyard, and we didn't even realize it. I'm surprised we just passed the 40th anniversary. I saw nothing about it in local information. But this is where it happened. To get your perspective, where we're at, we are actually kind of maybe a mile or 2 miles maybe behind St. Catherine. So if you live in St. Catherine, that wooded area there, right through the woods, as soon as it pops out of the woods, it's this airfield. This is where it happened. Those woods are also continue along over to Chitty Chatty, that Chitty Chatty Preserve area. So we're kind of on the back side of that, just to the east of the villages on Route 44, towards Leesburg, right when you get into Leesburg. It's all private, so I mean you can't come down and tour this property, but I do want to at least give you a little glimpse of that house. So let me go ahead and switch over to another camera. We'll be right back, and I can show you where this incident actually occurred. Okay, we're at the entrance to the bus line, well, the property, I guess, where Mr. Calhoun lives. And this is private and no trespassing down the road. That's the roadway that goes into the estate. The sign's still here for the entertainment coaches. This is the business where the bus was rented or managed. I don't know if it was owned by Ozzy or rented, but it was. This is where they came here to do the repair. Now, right through this field, you can see.
Look at all the cows looking at you.
Yeah, the cows are checking on us. And let me zoom at the cows first, and then I'll show you that home. See if it'll
look at the horns.
Focusing. Yeah, they're pretty impressive little fellas. Look at those horns on there. All right, so that's a protection around the house. All right, straight across there, that is the home that the plane crashed into. The bus was parked in that front yard area there. And you can, looks like a little roadway in front. That's actually a runway. This is a private runway for several buildings down in here. So that's where the plane took off from. And it came from this direction over my head, where I'm at now, towards that building where it was swooping down to the bus. Did that, like I said, several times before it actually clipped the bus. It tumbled over to the right-hand side. Right there, you can kind of see behind those trees. That's the garage type area there. Crashed into there where it exploded. The fire spread, burnt the roof off of the house, completely destroyed the garage. The whole roof area over the main part of the house was gone. But it was restored. This looks exactly the way it did then. You can see this little fountain out front. And again, I'll put some of those videos up from Little Ozzy, or links to it in the description. And you can see where they came, and they got some pictures right there at the fountain. They sang in the front yard there, and then also got the opportunity to sing inside that home in the front foyer there, front room with Mr. Calhoun. It's kind of surreal. That's where Randy Rhoads lost his life, right there. And the Ozzy Osbourne band had to continue. The next day, supposedly they had left shortly after when the police released the bus. They went to a local hotel. What that means, I don't know how local is. Local to Ozzy Osbourne might be different than us. That may mean Orlando. I don't know if it was right here. But then the story goes, another one of the band members that was fairly distraught chose to, later that day, he said he just couldn't sit in the hotel, went to a local church and just to grieve and to pray. And while he was there was somebody at the front row that was just extremely distraught and was crying out. And eventually he sees that was Ozzy Osbourne in the church, the local church, shortly after the accident. So that you don't hear many stories of Ozzy Osbourne in church, but that supposedly happened after this event. Ozzy had to continue with his tour. I think it was a week and a half or 2 weeks later. They did have to move on with another player, but I think this always affected Ozzy from that point forward. So again, it's kind of surreal. In fact, I hear a plane right now. I wonder if we'll see where he's at.
I don't see it. I was looking for it.
There's a plane flying around out here. So that'd be interesting to see if we could see it land, but I think it's just passing by. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any other things I wanted to pass on about this event. Again, it happened on March the 19th of 1982. So March the 19th was the 40-year anniversary of the event. All righty. That'll do it for this episode. Rest in peace, Randy Rhoads.